When your team isn't trained, mistakes happen. Jobs go wrong. Customers complain. And your business? It suffers. At Max Moving Training, we help moving companies like yours build strong, reliable teams from the inside out. From mover and driver training to sales, operations, marketing, and leadership, we give your people the skills to succeed. When everyone is trained, everything runs smoother and your business grows stronger. Training isn't optional. It's essential. Stop guessing. Start training. Join Max Moving Training today.
All right, y'all. Welcome to another episode of Mornings with Movers. I'm Dwight Mack with Moving Force, and we got a special guest in the building, Jesse Lewis, today, who's, very, very interesting of a person, got a crazy background. I'm going to let him tell y'all a little bit about himself, and then we'll kick it off.
I'm pretty easy. I'm not going to get big into my background because I'll make you ask and discover, but I've been a stage hypnotist for 20 years. I came from nothing, and I now work all over Canada. It's a pretty good life, and I've learned a lot about stress management, about leadership, and about helping other people, which I think is probably the most important thing. So let's help some people.
Okay. So, based on reading, sorry, I'm posting, make sure people know that we're here.
Yeah.
But based on reading, what you told me about your background, you are a hypnotist.
I am.
All right, so yeah, blind your eyes, close your eyes.
The truth is, it has nothing to do with eyesight. What it has to do with is if you can hear me, I can hypnotize you. If I can touch you, I can hypnotize you. All hypnosis is, think about it like this. All hypnosis really is you ever watch TV and one of your loved ones comes up to you and you don't even notice them whatsoever? Like you're sucked right into the TV, or you're sucked right in, not literally, but in your mind, you're like focused really well on one thing. And they come up to you, they talk to you, they have a 10-minute conversation with you, and you don't remember the conversation whatsoever. That's hypnosis. This state of awareness where you're aware of stuff, but you just don't care. Most men that I know are like that all the time, right? And a lot of women too.
Okay. Now, this ain't no get out situation, right? You ain't gonna hit no teacup.
No. If I had that kind of hypnosis, it's all learned. I've got a library back there and then up there, and there's probably 400 books that I've read on the topic. It has nothing to do with manipulation. It has to do with people have to want to do it. Number one, if you don't want to do it, there's no way to do hypnosis. And number two, they have to understand what it actually is, because there's so many myths around it. People think it's sleep. It's not. People think that I can force them to go rob a bank. That's not how it works. It was brought on by certain people, but I won't say, but there was a very distinct group of people that were against hypnosis for a long time, and just have to educate people what it actually is.
Yeah. Okay. So diving into that a little bit, applying that logic to leadership and a lot of these owners, like how do you feel like, and I use the word hypnosis, but how do you feel like that can apply to people's leadership and maybe their level of drive?
Okay, so I'm going to pull you away from the word hypnosis. How about motivation, subconscious programming, just understanding oneself and applying it to leadership? How it applies to leadership is pretty simple. Unless you believe in yourself, you're not going to be able to lead people. And hypnosis fits that portion of you that you have that allows you to believe in yourself. It can boost your confidence. It can get rid of your anxiety. It can make you a better leader by allowing you to imagine yourself in the position of the person that you're actually leading. Because if you've never been in that position, it can be really, really hard to interact with people, right? It can be really, really hard to understand how to talk to people in a way that they actually understand. And I don't want to talk above anybody, so I try to keep everything I say simple, but we go into like neuroplasticity and a whole bunch of other stuff that really doesn't matter. What matters is understanding that you have to have that empathy for the people that you're actually leading. You actually have to care about them. And then you have to lead them in a way that makes sense for them. And usually that's by actually doing the job that's assigned to you. Most leaders that fail don't actually know what their job is. They try to do the job they had before they were a leader, and that's not how leadership works. Leadership works by, yes, I can do that job, but I'm not the one that steps in and saves you all the time because I'm trying to build a leader in the future. Does that make any sense?
Yeah. So I'm going to apply that to the moving industry a little bit. So,
Yep.
and you could correct me if I'm wrong, but like a mover that's been in the field who goes into dispatch, or whoever that becomes an office person that kind of runs it like they're a mover.
Yep.
Are you in search of a side gig? Get ready to land the ultimate side hustle. Don't let this opportunity slip away. Join Moving Force as a mobile mover. Enjoy the freedom to set your own hours, earn excellent income, and be your own boss. Apply now. Download the app for free, available on the App Store. It's time to make a move, both figuratively and literally.
Okay.
Yep. And that's not necessarily always the best thing. Even on site, think of it like this. You've got your head mover or whatever, right? You've got 4 or 5 guys, maybe 2, maybe 1 person, but you've got 4 or 5 guys underneath you on site, right? And here's the thing. The leader, yes, they have to have that leadership position, but is that leader training the people below them to be them in the future? Are they training the people below them to move up? And especially the smaller companies, how are you ever going to expand if you don't let people take the reins and somewhat lead themselves? Yes, there's going to be mess ups, but if you systemize everything, you have to trust people. And that's a big part of leadership, is trusting people to do their best so they can then also lead the team that they're with. Leadership isn't just top down, it's also side to side, right? If you've got a guy in your crew that doesn't do anything, that's lazy and they become a cancer, right? And it affects everybody else. So if you have a good group of guys or girls and they work together well, it's side to side leadership too. Maybe Bob's not doing a great job that day, but Sarah says, hey, Bob, you need to smarten up. You need to do a little bit more work in this specific area. Or she guides him in a way that maybe he didn't know about. And leadership can come from the bottom up too. Sometimes there's the new guy on a crew that figures out something that the boss doesn't know. Sometimes that there's a saying in the military: find the laziest person you can, and they'll figure out how to do the job the easiest way. So sometimes having that person at the bottom that discovers a new way changes an entire industry. It has happened in my industry in hypnosis. There are people that have a 1.5 year experience and they'll do something that's completely different than I do. And I'm like, holy potatoes, how does that work? How do I learn? After 20 years of doing this, how did they just teach me that lesson? Mm-hmm. Leadership's about being open. It really is. So if you're not open, there's a lot to leadership.
Yeah.
It's a really interesting topic.
Now,
and seeing where it goes.
It could be me, but normally I'm juggling 8,000 things. So, but I just feel like this world is just getting a lot faster, but not, and that's only because of the AI that's out there that's, just taking over a lot, so people not having to necessarily think for themselves like they used to and be ingenuitive. How do you feel like that's affecting the economy, I guess the world, where, now we create these SOPs that people barely look at, or, it's just like, I feel like it just affects business overall.
I think that if people aren't careful, their jobs are about to be gone. Because if in corporate America, in the corporate world, right, if you're not making money, you don't exist. You get laid off. So you talked about AI. AI could be, in my view, the best thing that ever happened to humanity, and also the worst thing that ever happened to humanity. Because now, one person like me, I can do, my entire marketing team is AI. I'm sure that that's happening in companies all over the country. And you talk about dispatch. Well, how much of dispatch is the exact same thing again and again and again with very little variation? Soon enough, AI may take that job over. So we as regular humans have to be aware of how to use it and understand that it's just a machine. That there's nothing that can ever be the human touch. I guess where I'm going with this is the future could be bright, but it could also be really bad. And how it affects leadership is Just because you have a person there doesn't mean that they're going to listen to you, and it doesn't mean they're going to follow the SOP. But AI always will, so you got to be aware of that as well as a worker. It's a scary thing to think about, actually. But
Yeah, no, and it's crazy because people feel like, especially with the moving industry, that, their jobs is safe for years to come. And maybe that may be the case. But, there's people sticking around the industry a lot longer now because they're coming out with these exoskeletons. They're coming out with these technologies, self-driving trucks. So, hey, long distance jobs become a lot easier when you can just put stuff in the truck and send it to a destination and have movers unload it. Now you don't pay for the driver in between. So it's scary to even mention it, but hey, it exists. It just hasn't taken over widespread yet because they're still working on it. But the self-driving trucks already exist.
Hey everybody, my name is Dwight Mack with Max Moving Training. So we're going to be doing a move and a pack today. But before we go in, there's just 10 basic rules that we just need to know before participating with this service. So number one, understand moving is a very, very stressful thing. We need to be a service provider that comes in and basically keep that stress level mitigated or very low. Come in as professionals and do our job the way we know how to do our job so that this customer is less stressed during that move process. Number two, be on time. First impression is everything. You guys showing up outside of the window rubs the customer the wrong way. It messes up the rest of the move process. Even if you guys do the best job y'all can do, because one thing was off, this customer's mood is just off. Go up and beyond, be there before the time, as long as they're okay with it. Let's get started with this moving pack.
When the day starts, before everyone gets on the road, a debriefing of the day ahead needs to take place, going over all the expectations, firing up the squad, and just setting the tone for the move day. The truck inspection is something that should be done every single day prior to going out. With the truck equipment check, this is a task that can be done while the truck inspection is taking place. You want to make sure that each crew has their respective list of things to check. This is also the perfect time to tidy up and count all of the odd pieces of equipment. There's just one last step. The foreman or the lead should contact the customer to make sure everything is still on schedule and to let them know when they'll be arriving. Now, all the dots are checked and it's time to get this crew out the yard. Moving equipment. This will be your standard equipment for your move. We will go in depth on how all of these can play a major role in performing a safe and efficient move. The two-wheel dolly. This is a simple one-man piece of equipment that can be used for your boxes, or even better yet, your big and larger items that you will likely encounter. Residence protection. The front entryway is where a lot of damage can happen on the move. So to limit this, we're going to use 3 very important things. First, we're going to use a floor runner with a blanket, and this is going to protect the home from any pebbles and shoes or mud that's going to harm the immediate floor. Once the sides are wrapped, you can now stand it up and wrap from bottom all the way to the top. This method would be the preferred way, as this now puts the movers in the prime carrying position to get the sofa out of the residence. When lifting something big and heavy like this dresser, it's very helpful to use a two-wheel dolly. In addition to using the dolly, using a spotter can really help you get it through the door and down and up the stairs.
So now it's all about loading up the truck. And there's just some basic rules that we got to follow with loading the truck. Number one, make sure that you did a thorough walkthrough of the home, seen everything that you need to move, and now you can start painting that picture in your head of how you want that truck loaded. Number two, start with the basics, start with the miscellaneous stuff, because ultimately you don't want to find yourself stacking on miscellaneous items like hampers and bags and stuff like that. So, let's start with the simple stuff in your load.
Storage vault loading. So the customer shipment has arrived at your warehouse. It's time to assess that everything is accounted for and determine if everything will fit into the storage vault as quoted for. So similar to packing a truck, we're going to start with a solid base, which will be the foundation to bring this whole load together.
All right, guys, my name is Brandon. I'm with Max Move Management, and here's 11 steps on how to have a perfect move. Number 7, after load up, make sure to do a walk around with the customer to ensure everything is done. That means you grab the customer, your guys are outside, maybe putting away all the equipment. You grab the customer, do a walk around, you open up every closet. If you were doing a pack job, make sure that you know that everything is gone. Make sure you go through the kitchen, open up every cupboard, leave the cupboards open so at quick glance, everybody sees that the kitchen has been fully packed. And anything of that nature, even the wardrobe boxes, just double check and make sure you do a complete walk around. And if the customer had a garage or anything outside of the home that was mentioned to move, patio table, patio furniture, maybe some items out of the garage or shed, make sure you don't forget to do that walk around as well. Do a complete walk around.
It's not just that. I used to work for a very large box store, and this was 10 years ago now, and they were talking about how they're designing robots that can climb scaffolding to go get product or to place product in factories. So if that's happening at a factory level, at a mover level, how soon is it before there is robots doing the actual mover jobs? And it's a hard thing to contemplate, but we have to be aware that that's coming, and we have to understand that, yeah, it could save a company a lot of money, but what is the human cost of that? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like
it's scary. It's scary because like the Elon robot right now, an Optimus.
Yep.
And amazing of a robot as already, but I know they're still working on some tweaks. Still expensive for the average human. But eventually it will become affordable because they're going to just make more and more models of it, or somebody's going to find a way to make a cheaper version of it. And just like the AI meta glasses, they're super expensive, awesome product, even though I haven't yet utilized them. But now they're coming out with products that's similar to what it does. So it's only a matter of time before people start duplicating it, and then moving owners start getting tired of their own guys. Like, this guy's not dependable. He doesn't show up to work. Then they start using Optimus robots.
Even look at drones. Like drones used to be like $700 to go buy a drone at a store, and now you can go buy that same drone for about $140. So, like when they first came out, is what I mean. So. And I don't know if you watched the military parade that the Chinese had like 6 months ago, but they had these robot dogs that they're designed for war, but anything that's usable in war is usable by citizens as well, right? So how long is it before, okay, there's a bunch of robot dogs coming to pack your house? Or California, they had testing of robot cooks. So your fast food order goes out the window and it's all done by robot. So how far away are we from that in the moving industry? There's very few industries that'll be safe from this, but I also like to think of it this way. Back in the day when the trains were first coming in across America, they said, the trains will never replace the horse. All the trains did was create opportunity. So maybe instead of looking at AI as, oh my God, there's this thing coming, maybe we look at it as an opportunity to shift in different directions or to actually make everybody's life easier. It could go both ways. It depends on.
It could definitely go both ways. Like you said, your marketing team is AI. And it's crazy to even think that we came that far where it's just like, oh snap, what do I need? Oh, I need emails. Oh, what do I need? I need posts, social posts. Hey, you know what? Let me spend Tuesday, maybe even an hour or less, and I can get a whole month worth of content and be good to go. So it's crazy, but it's been helpful. I've been a big spreadsheet guy. I love spreadsheets. And prior to the whole ChatGPT, I was more of an Excel versus Google Sheet. But I love the formulas. I was like, oh, I'm gonna figure this out. I'm gonna go on
Yep.
YouTube if I get caught up with something, and they're gonna have the answer somewhere on YouTube. And I can't remember the last time I've been on YouTube for how tos now.
No, you ask chat, how do I do this? And it lays it out step by step, and you're done. Yeah, it's funny you say that because I am a member of a hypnosis association with about 100 members, and I did a marketing talk yesterday about how to systemize your business for 12 weeks using ChatGPT in under an hour. And it does the marketing for 12 weeks in about an hour for specific markets that we work in. And it is amazing the amount of work we can get done now, but it's also scary because if I'm doing all that work myself, I'm not hiring anybody anymore. It's scary how that works. And yeah. So the question is what are we moving towards? What comes next? What is next in the industry, in your industry, in my industry, all over the world? What does this bring? And yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, but at the same, and you're probably absolutely right about that. It's kind of crazy because even though there's still a lot of people, let's say using Indeed to hire,
Yeah,
they're not hiring fast anymore.
nope.
And the AI is actually scanning resumes prior to, them going to the final location or destination. So now they're like, oh, we only got 5 out of 50 applications because it was able to look at the keywords that we were looking for and it just fluffed out everybody else. Perfect. Now, we're looking at more of we only really needed 1 hire, even though there was 50 applicants. So now that we got 5, okay, that's a 20% chance that we'll get the right applicant. So it's like, interesting.
And the sad part about that is that it kills the opportunity for those other 50 because yeah, they might have had a crap resume, but I'll tell you, I will take a 20-year-old with ambition over a 50-year-old person who's stuck in their ways that can't learn every single time. So that sounds really bad, but sometimes, and I'm an old timer too, right? I'm 42 now, and I know that I'm stuck in my ways sometimes. So I hire those young people specifically so they can do the stuff that I can't do. And the Indeed thing is questionable too, because there's companies out there that post jobs that don't actually exist. It makes their hiring numbers look better. It makes it look better to the shareholders if they're always hiring, but sometimes those jobs don't even exist. So that's a big question too. Job hunters are using it too in reverse. They're also looking at those jobs using AI. They're saying, hey, chat, please go scan Indeed for me and find the jobs that I'm suitable for instead of having to scroll through those web pages, which makes things like ad revenue not valuable anymore because people aren't going there and looking at ads. They're not clicking on things that they used to in the past. So there's a huge economic change. This talk went all over the place.
Yeah.
All right, guys, my name is Brandon. I'm with Max Move Management, and here's 11 steps on how to have a perfect move. The first one, the office should call or your dispatcher should call the customer 2 days prior to arrival. The reason for this is just in case the customer has a closing on the house, maybe they weren't able to secure, a babysitter for the child or a pet sitter. You definitely want to call 2 days in advance. This helps the customer be prepared, and you make sure that you as well know that you're going to a customer that's also prepared. 2, the crew should also call the customer prior to arrival to the home. After the guys have already geared up, you got all your equipment in your truck, you got your address punched into your GPS, go ahead and either the driver or the helper, give the customer a call or a quick text, let them know that you're en route to your location and provide them with the ETA. This also sets the expectation for the customer to be back home just in case they want to drop their kids off to school. For the third one, look to keep the customer happy, break the ice in the beginning. So pretty much this means when you walk up to the house, knock on the door with your best mannerism that your mother taught you or father, you knock on the door, introduce yourself. Hi, my name is Brandon. I'm the foreman. This is my helper. And you introduce the team that you have with you.
Well, ultimately, it was about AI and how it's affecting people, ship and everything. So even as a leader, how long did it take y'all in the past to create SOPs? Where it's like, oh, what is a SOP? Can you create an SOP for me? I just don't have the time for it now. Where now it's like, do you just understand the basics of chat? Because it's really basic at that point. Sign in, put in, oh, can you create an SOP for how to load a truck for my movers? Oh, okay. Copy. Paste.
Yep.
All right.
Done.
Let's see when we're gonna. Now, is the key is, can you implement it? It's not just oh well, I got 100 SOPs in an hour, but how do you enforce them? Because people are not going to just sit there and read 100 SOPs. They're going to
No.
go, oh, I know how to do this. You're going to have a meeting with them. That's the human side of it. And you're going to have to be like, okay, hey guys, here's this. And if you try to do a training, a live training on it, not live training, but like a recorded training on it,
Good luck.
we'll skip that. If they find a way to skip that, press that button.
It's funny. I used to work at I've worked a lot of different places over the years, but in my early years, I managed an A&W. And one of the things they have is the computer training. And you're required, in Canada anyway, it is a 2-week course that you have to take by computer before you're even allowed on the till. It's insane how much computer training you have. So you're taught literally how to put a hamburger together, the 6 different hamburgers that they have. And they force you to go step by step and click the mouse. And you can't skip. It takes about 2 weeks to actually do the full training. Now, I'm not saying that the moving industry should be the same, but how could something like that be implemented? Maybe a live training is better than an online. But here's the other question. Is the person who's training actually trained? And we talk about leadership. When they're training, are they following the steps, or are they saying, this is why I don't do this and this is why I don't do that? Is your trainer actually good enough to be training people? I never blame the guy on the bottom, because I've been that guy on the bottom, and sometimes management has no clue what they're talking about. And you've probably been there too. And it's not that as an owner, you probably know what you're talking about, but it's the person in the middle that has no skin in the game. It's just a job to them. So how do you get, I guess, buy-in from that middle person?
I think with these big companies, more or less, that focus on training and using computer-based modules, the issue that they run into is that, or from what I've seen, is that they give you a lot of information. They throw a lot at you, but a lot of it isn't step-by-step practical of what to look out for. Like, prime example, they'll talk about like fraud stuff. Oh, well, hey, here's the things to look out for fraud, or here's the things to look out for if this situation happens. But it's like, okay, well, hey, how what's the how-to? How do I do this so I can get to the results that I need to get to the core of how-tos? And I feel like that's been the delay. You know, by the time people get to the how-to in their training, depending on how long that training program is, they're burnt out. They're like, oh, well, you know, I'm ready to skip the rest of this. I'm ready to move on because it gave me too much fluff.
Well, most courses these days, I've done a bunch of courses, and all the big course creators say, well, start with the mindset stuff. So start with where people need to be in their mind before you push them towards a direction. And that's good, but that doesn't necessarily work for a business. If you're wasting 3 hours trying to get buy-in from somebody to be able to pack a house or whatever it is, maybe that 3 hours could be more useful with live in-person training or actual step-by-step guides that you're talking about. This is how you actually do it. Because by the time you're even 30 minutes in, we live in the TikTok generation now. We've got maybe 2 minutes before people just zone out. So how do we get that buy-in from our staff and from our leadership too? It's a big thing. And I think how you do that is they have to have skin in the game too. They have to actually have a want, a desire, and this goes above and beyond, oh, you've got a job, you need to do your job. It goes towards, especially with the younger generation, they have to have a cause in there, a reason above money why they're doing something, which I think that might be the most important thing as a leader, is understanding that people have to have a cause other than paying their rent. They have to have some form of a community at work that supports them. I'm not saying like emotional support. I'm saying that there has to be support there when there is a problem or they are making a mistake, that there is a little leeway, and then the punishment or whatever happens, right? There's got to be a little bit of, hey, we're going to retrain you before it's you're fired. And that's a big part of leadership is understanding that people are people. We all make mistakes. So why not let people make the mistake and then train them properly on how to do it? Giving forgiveness is one of the hugest things in leadership because it allows a person to realize, hey, I matter to that boss. I matter to them. They care about me. They let me have this mistake. I'm going to try not to make those mistakes in the future.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. So I hope y'all kind of been getting some stuff out of here. It's been a lot of juicy information, even though it's been a little rambling, bring back in. But no, it's ultimately the conversation today was all about leadership and making sure that you guys know what's to come. There's a lot of AI stuff that's out there that can help or hurt you. And it's just a matter of, hey, where are you going? We know the moving industry is a more of a recession-proof type of business because we've seen it. COVID, hey, we were essential. Ideally, when the housing market crashed or the stock market crashed, at the end of the day, the moving industry was still around because you know what? Guess what? People got to move. So at the end of the day, we will be faced with adversity as far as how we operate, but we're still there. We're still operating. We're still moving, and we're everlastingly growing. So if people aren't trying to work or whatever the case is, one, you do got moving force, your on-demand moving team. So if you do need us, go on the app. But two, if these guys are not showing up, hey, AI will eventually soon replace them. It's just a matter of time. And the drivers might be a little tough, but I'm saying once you're able to get those trucks that can drive themselves, only thing you gotta do is throw the movers in there, and they'll just be there. Okay, hey, let's load this truck up. All right, punch in the destination to get to the unload. All right, cruise onto the unload, get the truck unloaded, and head back to base. It can be that simple in the future. I see it because they're making it very hard on drivers right now.
Yeah, and it's coming faster than we think. I would say within 2 years, about 80% of the office jobs that people have are going to be obsolete. If you think about all the bureaucracy and the redundancies, even things like healthcare. In Canada right now, we've got AI in the doctor's office. They have a little speaker that records the whole thing, and it helps the doctor diagnose. It gives the doctor options. So how soon are those jobs going to go? How soon are other jobs that are all paperwork based gone? We got to think about that. But you said, before we end off, you said recession proof. Moving is recession proof, and I love it. Another one is hot dogs. You can sell hot dogs anytime. And I know this because that's what I did during COVID. I built myself a hot dog cart and I sold hot dogs because I couldn't entertain. and it built my other business up to 2 food trucks. So sorry for being weird.
Oh, nice. No, hey, like I said, the trucking industry is pretty much recession proof. Even if it's not just household good movings or commercial moving, think about it. Like how are people getting the food? The people still have to drive the trucks to get the food to the places. So again, those drivers are there. The tough part about the industry is, hey, insurance is tightening down on these drivers. They made a mistake 3 years ago, and it's going to hold over their head. So it makes it hard for you to want to put guys on your insurance, but obviously you have to. But now, like I said, with these self-driving trucks, I almost feel like your insurance, they're going to figure a way to make your insurance high because they don't make money if your insurance is too low.
Oh.
But you don't have to worry about the compliance where this guy costs you $6,000, but this guy costs you $4,000. Because it's going to be I feel like it's going to have to be a static approach if people go in a direction of using self-driving trucks.
I have a question, actually. You're in the industry, so they've been talking about having English-only speakers for licenses. Is that coming in the U.S. or not?
Yeah, no, I heard it's getting passed. I don't know if it got passed yet, but if you're a Spanish native speaker and you don't speak any English, I heard that they're getting really strict on them.
And since this is in English, it's not going to help you out anyway. But just be aware of that there's different things coming that you have to be aware of.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right,
I
y'all.
can
So
really
we
do
are
this.
at the top of the time. It was amazing episode, Jesse, even though we were all over the place, but I think we were dialed in.
Yeah.
So I hope y'all got some insight from this. Definitely, if you have any questions about what's going on in the industry, reach out. If you're interested in moving forward, definitely set up an appointment with us. And let's keep crushing it out there, y'all. Jesse, we'll definitely be catching up soon.
Perfect.
Anything? Did you want to leave your calling card or anything?
Because I'm Canadian, you probably can't use me in the US because I can't, the work visas, blah, 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 government crap. Anyway, if you're Canadian, I'll be glad to do your holiday party. hypnotistjesselewis.com, and you'll be able to see my stuff. That's it.
All right, y'all. Y'all take care.
Thank you so much.